Hi, welcome to my channel, where we believe in improving you. This knowledge will hopefully empower you to make positive change and impact in your life and others around you. Now, without further ado, let's go into money principles to live by. 1. You are the master of your money. Money is not your master. Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money at the same time. 2. Where your treasure is, there your heart will also be. I'm a Christian, and Jesus has quite a few things to say about money. One example that particularly strikes me is where this young man goes to Jesus and asks him, "Rabbi, I've done all the commandments and followed all the rules. What must I do to go to heaven?" And Jesus asks him to give up his possessions and to follow him. And the young man walks away looking really troubled. And then Jesus follows up by saying that it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle, which is already a really impossible task, than for a rich person to go to heaven. This is not saying that there are no rich people in heaven. In fact, some of the earliest forefathers of the Israelites were really wealthy. However, it's really talking about the attitude about how we should put God first in our lives over riches. 3. Knowing what is enough. So, a really striking story that is true is of a doctor who went to Yunnan to rural villages to be a village doctor. When he married his wife, they had a set of very striking vows. "Give me enough that I do not have to beg or steal, and not riches that I would forget you, God." This is a striking set of vows and challenges us to reevaluate our own attitudes. Are we praying to God for personal enrichment, or are we truly living for others and living our ministry as disciples of Jesus, who did not have a place to lay his head or personal belongings in his traveling ministry? 4. Managing lifestyle inflation. So when I first started work, our pastor at church shared with us that when you earn more as your career grows, you tend to succumb to this tendency to eat at more fancy places, to buy a bigger house, to buy a more expensive car, to go for more expensive holidays, to treat yourself better. However, life can actually go on as you did as a student when you were living on a really tight budget, or when you weren't actually earning much. It's the lifestyle of our peers, those around us, the experiences that they have, sharing what things they do on the weekend, that pushes us to really spend more. However, there's a huge opportunity that we each have as individuals to limit our spending to what it was when we were not earning so much, and to give all the excess to charity or to God. It's quite revolutionary, this idea that you don't actually have to spend that much. You can still survive on the limited amount that you started out with. 5th is the recognition that everything we have comes from God. We do not deserve anything per se, or even earn anything. We can put in hard work and be good stewards, but that's all we are, stewards. We come into this world naked, and naked we shall leave it. We can earn all the riches in the world, but still be unable to take anything with us into the next place where we will spend eternity. Number 6, tithing. So the Bible clearly states that we should give 10% of what we earn to God. This is a form of worship of God, glorification of everything that He has done for us, thankfulness for His salvation, and the acknowledgement that everything we have truly comes from above and not through our own merit. Jesus also questioned us to examine ourselves whether we had offended others in the process of giving. If we had an outstanding debt with a neighbor or with someone with whom we had offended, then we should go and mend that relationship even before we lay our offerings God's altar. He doesn't want us to come to Him as a form of appeasement or easing our conscience, but truly to deal with those around us fairly and to rest our conscience in these matters before worshiping Him with our whole heart. Additionally, he also talked about how the widow in the temple who gave her last 2 coins was truly acting out of her pure love for God, not knowing where her next meal would come from. She truly placed her faith in God and showed her love through her actions by putting her money where her mouth. What is important also to note is our attitude when tithing. There are some people who tithe who believe that with amount that they give in, more will be credited back to them. However, we should question this kind of motive when giving. Are we truly giving to thank God, or are we giving with the motive to enrich ourselves? Number 7, honor your parents. This is a very clear commandment in the Bible, and we should always ensure that those who took care of us are well taken care of before you spend on your own discretionary pleasures and entertainment. Maybe your parents have never asked you for money. However, you should always offer to chip in to help with bills, groceries, or other payments, especially if you're still living under their household and don't pay them rent. On the same note, number 8 is love your neighbor. So I can't think of a more appropriate story for this than that of the Good Samaritan. Jesus told this story of a man who was robbed and left to die on the side of the road. Walking past him were 2 religious people who ignored him and walked on by. However, a Good Samaritan, who really was disliked by the Jews at the time, walked past and offered to help the man and paid for his space and lodging and for someone to take care of him while he went away on business. So Jesus asked the listeners, who do you think was actually a good neighbor to this man? Jesus challenges the listeners of this parable to go out their way to help those who are in need, even though we may not know them. So that's it for today. Please subscribe to my channel, where we bring life, self-improvement, and finance tips and interesting information to you. This knowledge will hopefully empower you to make positive change and impact your lives and those of others around you. To receive notifications when I post, please subscribe to my channel and check me out on Instagram and leave any comments you have below. I will definitely try to get back to you if I can. Cheers. Bye.